The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
And welcome in everybody to another episode, another edition of Tier Tuesdays. DJ is not taking the lead this time. I get to be the Gus Johnson of this team today. DJ gets to take the role of Joel Klatt. This is going to be absolutely entertaining as we're going to run through a fun list today. DJ, you ready for this one?
I'm excited. It's going to be something that you don't always think about, but when you hear about it, you always get that double take like, oh, I'm sorry, what? But we're going to call that the title of this episode. I'm sorry, what? Basically, and it's timely, you could say, coming off of the Super Bowl.
Exactly. Today, guys, we are going through the top 10, in my eyes, weirdest stories to come out of Super Bowl week. This could be a range of things. Obviously, we'll talk about 58s here in just a minute and the weird stuff that came out of this. But this does date all the way back. We're going back to Super Bowl 13 in one case. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get right into it. So, DJ, starting at the bottom and working our way up here, we're going to go right to 58. We're going to the Coyotes. If you guys don't know, a reported coyote attack happened to a Kansas City Chiefs player in the lead up to the Super Bowl, this time during the Super Bowl week. Still have no idea who got attacked by the Coyotes. So that's going in the we need answers with lots of exclamation points. Obviously, only one there because if I did more, it wouldn't fit. Now, this was not good category. This is my category where I put guys or put events that happened that just, let's just say, weren't the most positive moments for an athlete of all time or for a person ever if they get busted for this. Starting with Super Bowl 33 here, looking at the Falcons versus the Broncos. I'm looking specifically at the Falcons. Before the game, a Falcons player was arrested for soliciting a prostitute. So not a good situation there. Super Bowl 23, going back in time a little bit here to the Bengals versus the Niners. Bengals, Boomer Esiason had won the MVP that year despite Joe Montana's fantastic season. But that wasn't the story here. The story was Stanley Wilson pregame of Super Bowl 23 getting busted for using cocaine in his hotel room by the coaching staff. I heard a funny story about this from one of the previous former players there from that team that was on the elevator with Stanley. Stanley said, "Hey, I forgot something." Jumped off the elevator, ran to his room, and that is when he was busted by the coaches. So tough situation there, but yeah, definitely not a good situation. That's why this was not good category. Now, ladies and gentlemen, put on your tin hat for this next category. We are going with the biggest conspiracies I can think of right now. And we're going to start with Super Bowl 47. If you guys don't remember this, this is the Ravens versus the 49ers. 49ers, all cylinders going right here, leading the way, and then all of a sudden lights go out. After that, lights come back on. I believe it was a 5-minute delay. You had the Ravens storming back to win this Super Bowl. Wild situation. Only time I think I've ever seen lights go out in any playoff game and any Super Bowl in all of my life. So that one was quite wild there. Now this one's going back a little bit here to the 90s. And Buffalo Bill fans, listen, turn off your sound for just a second because this is Thurman Thomas. Thurman Thomas's helmet went missing pre-game. He actually missed 2 drives because of this. Went on to, in that game, to only get 13 yards rushing on 10 attempts. Mind you, we're talking about the leading rusher in the league that year. Absolute washing for the Buffalo Bills. They did not stand a chance with Thurman Thomas not performing. Redskins won that game handily, but everybody wonders what happened to Thurman Thomas's helmet. Begs the question. Now we're getting into some wild ones. These are just the moments you just say, what? This is the namesake for the episode in a lot of ways. Super Bowl 37. We're talking Tampa Bay versus the Buccaneers. And if you guys don't remember this, is John Gruden returning to play against the Raiders, and a lot of weird things going back and forth. But the weirdest, Raiders player just disappears. Is the best way to put it. Find out after the game. There's a lot of worry, a lot of concern. FBI got involved. There was a lot of searching for this guy. Turns out he just went to Mexico, partied too hard. Turned out he didn't know what was happening. Shows up the day before the game, completely just off his rocker. Team had no choice but to remove him from the active roster. Absolutely wild situation. And this one I'm going to call fan service with Super Bowl 13. We're talking Steelers versus Cowboys. Steelers won the Super Bowl. But that's not the important part. The important part is after the game here, a fan snuck into the Steelers locker room to shower and celebrate with Steelers players after the Super Bowl. Couldn't happen today. I don't think it could happen today, but an absolutely wild time there. Super Bowl 13. That one was early times of the NFL. Now we're going to legendary. These ones are still talked about today. These are probably the ones that if you thought about this list, these are the ones that first pop up in your mind. And I'm going Super Bowl 49. This one didn't have anything to do with the Seattle versus Patriots matchup. Was a great game, but this has to do with the halftime show. Katy Perry, if you guys remember, in that halftime show, absolutely fantastic halftime show. But we all remember Left Shark. If you guys don't remember the memes for Left Shark, just look it up. It's a hilarious situation. Absolutely stole the show from what was then superstar Katy Perry. So yeah, big time there for Left Shark. NFL, always been running with the pop stars here, which is why we're going right into 38. We're talking about the matchup between Patriots and Panthers, the beginning of the dynasty for the Patriots. Jake Delhomme, that's technically Jake Delhomme, and the Panthers, but I'm going to still call him Delhomme. Just didn't stand a chance of this one. But again, this is not, we're talking about the game. We're talking about the halftime show. And one of the most memorable halftime shows that changed FCC regulations for these type of events, Justin Timberlake exposing Janet Jackson during the halftime show. Huge fine levied against CBS for that event. Actually kind of led to them losing the Super Bowl for a few years there. But they ended up getting it back, obviously. But now we're talking about one of the craziest events, one of the most impactful ones potentially on the air. But not the craziest in my eyes. I do look at this next one, and this is Super Bowl 51. 28-3, Atlanta Falcons were up. End up losing the game to Tom Brady and the Patriots. Again, though, not the story. Story is post-game, and what is one of the craziest hunts I've ever seen for a piece of merchandise. We're talking Tom Brady's stolen jersey. Not only was Brady's jersey stolen, it was found by a guy who had been getting credentials for over a decade, and he was not even anything to do with the news. He was an executive, but he had been stealing merchandise for over a decade and filling up his whole collection. Tom Brady's jersey being the kind of piece de resistance, if you will, of that collection, and he only got busted because of social media. So how wild is that one? So that's our list. DJ, take it away, sir.
We're going to go just in reverse order. We're going to caterpillar. So I'm going to start right there. You have to imagine the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. You can't get away with taking the MVP's jersey. Maybe he thought James White was going to be the MVP like we all know he should have been. So I thought he could get away with Tom Brady's, but you got to be smarter than that. Take the kickoff tee in that game or something like that. Take a Falcons player's jersey or something like that. You can't take Tom Brady's jersey after arguably the game that basically solidified him at that point is the GOAT in most people's eyes. And on top of that, the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history and the first overtime game. Like, that's just stupid. That's legendarily stupid. And it almost makes me wonder, it says he's got the credentials for over 10 years. Did he take Thurman Thomas's helmet? So we're gonna double down now. Is he the one who's been taking Thurman Thomas's helmet? So I'm gonna add that one to the tinfoil hat as well. So I'm gonna double that guy though. He deserved to get busted. Just the ignorant, but you're not a common criminal. You're a high level criminal. You got to be smarter than that. It's like the guy who tries to do a jewelry heist and walks in with mud on his shoes or something just absolutely silly.
Yeah, it might be the most successful. I'll say that might be the most successful joint effort between U.S. and Mexican law enforcement. By the way, who would have thought? We're a jersey.
All it took was Tom Brady, basically. Which once Tom Brady was involved, everything got involved. Next, don't have to say too much about it. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. That's pretty much the only thing I can say with that one as well too. Like, there's not a whole lot else to add there as well. Next one, Katy Perry, the shark. Wonderful. That shark I forgot Katy Perry did the halftime show. As soon as you said that Super Bowl, my first thought was Legion of Boom and the shark. And I was like, oh yeah, it was the shark concert featuring Katy Perry. Never mind. That shark stole the show. I'm still not convinced it didn't eventually lead to Baby Shark. Choo. Somehow they are correlated, and I will not be told otherwise. Super Bowl 13. You get in there. You get in there, you shower with the team, and then you celebrate with them. What? Like, I'm moving on. I don't even want to talk about this one no more.
By the way, fun fact about this one: that story didn't come out until 2010.
Like, how does that happen? Like, I don't get that. Like, how does I know you don't necessarily know everybody on the team necessarily on a first name basis. It's like, wow, I haven't seen that face in the last 20 weeks. Like, what? I digress. Especially if he did, like, if he did actually shower with them too. It's like, what is this random new naked guy doing here? Like, I don't get it. Maybe he didn't actually. Maybe he just went there and partied. Either way, so many questions. Tinfoil hat answers. I'm mad about all of it. I'm simply mad about all of it. That's all I have on that one as well. We're just go now. We're gonna swing all the way down to the bottom. We need answers. Was it Kadarius Toney? Is that why he didn't play, or was it because he's Kadarius Toney? Because I understand if it was the former, I have questions why you were going to play him in the first place at that point. To that, it took a coyote to save your Super Bowl at that point. Because Kadarius Toney was the one thing the 49ers had going for them, really, at that point. It's like the Chase Claypool factor we joked about earlier in the year as well. I digress a little bit, but I say, how do you a coyote? And who was it? It wasn't Trent McDuffie because he played out of his mind. It wasn't Chris Jones because he still terrorized everybody. Clearly wasn't Travis or Patrick. Or maybe it was Travis and he took halftime. He had to get some good Novocaine or something to get off the bite to come like a bat out of hell at the end. I don't know, but I don't understand how you let a player be in a situation to interact with a coyote in the first place. Visit them at the zoo behind basically bulletproof glass. That is the closest interaction you need with a coyote beforehand. Afterwards, do whatever you want. Ride that coyote.
Shout out Josh Williams here for hitting the on-the-ground coverage with all the Chiefs players. He literally ran around to every Chiefs player during media events and interviewed them, except for obviously Patty and Travis because they were just swamped. But he was asking questions about it, so checking to see who it was. By the way, the top 3 vote getters in that, George Karlaftis is one. Number 2 was actually Josh Williams himself. And number 3, Deion Bush.
Interesting. All right, so maybe I was a little bit off, but I one day I hope we don't have to wait till like 2040 to figure out who it was. I hope we find out sooner than later. I want to know, damn it. This was not good. Yeah, that's honestly the best way to describe it. I mean, soliciting a prostitute, that's what you do after the Super Bowl, not before the Super Bowl. Like you got your shit backwards. And then your cocaine, once again, you do that in the locker room before the game to get you amped up. You can't just forget that and then have to run back like that. You don't get on and up. I digress. Everyone has their own way of dealing with things. They're just wrong there. We're going to go to
fun fact between these two. 33 player did play for the Falcons after that. And then the next day. 23, however, obviously was removed from the roster.
Interesting. Like, you know what? It's neither here nor there. It was a different time. I'll let that one be. I'll just let that one. I'll let that one.
Those are the reason why the No Fun League is what it is now.
God damn it! It's always that guy. There's always a guy that ruins it. And then the last one, I saved the best for last for us to go back over. The Harbaugh Bowl. I am convinced that was Jim Harbaugh who turned off the damn lights, and no one will prove to me otherwise until they can blatantly show me a video of someone else doing it. You just had a halftime show with absolutely no issues. I believe, was it Beyonce who did it that year? You had absolutely no issues. You were just fine coming out of the half. And then Jacoby Jones returns that kickoff for a touchdown and makes it, what was it, 28-7 or 28-10, something like that, when it basically felt out of the water, or 28-7, whatever it was. Point is, it felt over. Then conveniently, the lights go out and all momentum is stopped for, I think it was even longer than 5 minutes. I think it was like 15-20, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was a pretty doozy outage.
That's right.
And sure enough, the 49ers then come back like bats out of hell, and it took basically elite Joe Flacco to honestly just kind of extend the game so the 49ers ran out of time because he really didn't do anything. Kaepernick just missed Crabtree out of the back of the end zone. And in that 4th down, the Ravens, Ray Lewis even said it. He's like, we're playing cover 0. We are not letting him scramble and make a play. He's throwing this ball instantly, and it worked. Like at the same time, like that was – I'm not convinced that Jim Harbaugh didn't have something to do with that. Maybe the mama and dad Harbaugh went and did it because like we can't let we are tired of John bullying Jim as children. We got to balance it out as adults. I don't know. But I will not be told otherwise. That is way too unlikely to just be conveniently happening right after the Ravens seemingly put the dagger in the game too. So, Jim, I'm on to you. And if that happens again with the Chargers in any sort of game, like say Justin Herbert's having a rough start or their defense getting clapped and the power goes out, or another lightning warning at SoFi Stadium, I'm convinced Jim Harbaugh is doing it. No one will tell me otherwise. His Michigan tenure with different allegations here or there, you could say, looking at you, Mr. Stallions, and looking at you, Hamburgers. I'm convinced that Jim Harbaugh, I'm not saying he's dirty, but I'm just saying he's not clean.
Well, he definitely knows how to make a good burger, I guess. But you know what? If he's smart, he hires Charger great Sean Merriman. So at least when the lights go out, you can be like, it's his fault. His name is Lights Out. It's him. It wasn't me. Nope, not me. It was him.
He'll have an earpiece and be like, Sean, do it. Then Merriman will quit doing his lights out dance with his arm too. It's like, oh, sorry guys, I actually turned the lights out this time.
Exactly. Well, guys, that does it for our Tier Tuesdays this week. Let us know what you think. Was there a Super Bowl we missed? I hope not, but maybe there was. Maybe you guys want to talk about in-game situations. That could be one maybe we talk about. But this was a lot of fun. This was a lot of really outside of play situations. So do enjoy this one for sure. But yeah, guys, check it out every week over on our YouTube page. Also, check us out Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time live for our weekly episodes. You can find us anywhere on social media at HighLowSports or at high_low_sports on X. So be sure to check that out.